Helping us in worship, amen? Amen. Praise the Lord. We want to call our attention back to the 121st book of Psalms. We actually was in a series last week, two-part series, focusing on the 121st book of Psalms. If you have it in your hard copy or either in your PDA or your smartphone, whatever your choice is, amen. Amen. Psalms 121. Psalms 121. May we pray. Heavenly Father, we do need you to speak to us. We all are dealing with things in life. Sometimes things that we've never been through before. Some of us are dealing with the same old. Some of us are dealing with unexpected things that came up through the week. In fact, some of us got some news this morning, Lord God, and still trying to figure out how to deal with it. But Lord, if you speak to us this morning, show us the way, Lord God. Give us guidance. Bring light where there's darkness, Lord. Show us the way. Speak to us, Lord. Speak to that man. Speak to that woman. Speak to that individual. Speak to that young person, Lord God. Grab our attention right now so that we can hear from you. And Father, I pray that you use me now, that you will use us all in this time of sharing your word. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Amen. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Amen. If you look with me in the 121st book of Psalms, verses 1 through 4, we find the following for our hearing. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Last week we looked at the first verse where it says, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills from which cometh my help. And the thought came to mind last week that we need to know that whatever we're dealing with, that God is our source. But when we read verse 2, we hear, my help cometh from the Lord, which made heavens and the earth. This hour we would like to focus on the thought, no matter how much you have or who you are, we all need to remember that God is our help. God is our help. Some years ago, in late part of 2014, a sermon was preached about a young man at the age of 17. He was allowed to borrow his father's car and joyride around town. But rather than stay on the main streets, the paved streets, he decided to leave the blacktop and drive fast on dirt roads. And as he drove fast through the mountains and the country, through the winding dirt roads, with all the twists and the turns, the car spun out of control and landed into a ditch. Back then, when we preached that sermon in the fall of 2014, we never told you how the teenager got the car out of the ditch. And many of you raised questions, Pastor, what happened to the car in the ditch? See, there was a young man, father, using that car that his daddy had allowed him to use, and he got his daddy's car stuck in a ditch on a dirt road. It was way out on the country where there were no houses and no cell phones and even no tow trucks. There the young man was stuck and could not even help him on himself. And there are too many times, my brothers and sisters, when we all land in certain types of ditches and you can't even help your own self. You can't do all that you thought that you needed to do to get your own self out of the ditch. I need to share with you this hour that as a pastor over these years and countless of years, it bothers me as a pastor to go to the hospital and see some of our loved ones and even my own family lying in the hospital bed, and you can't do nothing for them, and they can't do nothing for them themselves. We share with many of you, and thank you for those that have been concerned about my own mother, who's in the hospital last week. She's at home now, and thank God she texted me right before church, and I was looking forward to hear from her. But she hadn't been answering the phone lately because her health had not gotten back to where it needed to be. She was strong enough to leave the hospital, but still too weak to do a lot of things that she would like to do for herself. And when I went back a couple of weeks to Macon, Georgia, to check on my mother, I saw a woman that was used to traveling everywhere. She raised her children. Y'all know the story. Y'all know women like this. She raised her children. She raised other folks' children. She was an advocate for education in our community. She worked and she worked and she did and she did and she went in and everywhere that she could go. But then for days she lied in this hospital and not being able to freely do as she used to do. I don't know if you've had a moment in your life when you were not able to get up and do for yourself, or when your health changed, or your mind changed, or your finances changed, and you just could not do what you used to do. I don't know if you found yourself in a ditch. It can be a health ditch. It can be a financial ditch. It can be a social media ditch. It can be a relationship ditch. Sometimes you can fall into the ditch, and you don't even know what name to put onto it. All you know is that you're in trouble and you can't help yourself. And if you've never fallen into a ditch before, or never had anybody that you love into a ditch, the old folk used to tell us, you just keep on living. Because somewhere and sometime in life, we all have a moment when you will have to deal with a ditch. So the young man sat in the car. He was afraid now because he took his daddy's car and went somewhere that he had no business going. Now he's stuck in the ditch. And the question now is, now that I got my daddy's car into the ditch, how am I going to get my daddy's car out? He put the car in reverse and punched the gas. And the back wheel dug deeper into the dirt road. He thought if he hit the gas fast enough that it would pull the entire car out. Then he got out of the car and walked across the field and looked for some dried limbs that had fallen off the tree. He gathered as many limbs as he could and brought them back to the car and put them back up under the wheel. He thought that if he could get that limb on the backside of that wheel so when it began to turn back that it would catch on the limbs and pull the car out. When he hit the gas, it was not enough to pull the car out. Then he saw where the older men used to do something where they would rock the car. Now, all of y'all don't know about this. When you rock the car when it gets stuck, you put it in reverse, punch the gas, and it'll pull a little bit back, quickly put it in drive, punch the gas, it'll move forward, hit reverse, move back, hit drive, move forward. And if you create enough rocket with the car going back and forth, it can shake the car loose and get it across the ditch. And he did everything he could, but whatever he tried, it was still not enough. How many of you know sometimes you can try everything? You can try everything on your own and just find yourself falling deeper into the ditch, deeper into the problem, deeper into the situation, and deeper into the problem. And then you realize that after you done tried everything that you knew, you done tried everything that you can pay for, and after you get through, you still are stuck into the ditch. So he got out of the car and began walking down the road and thought to himself, I can't go home. I can't go home because when I get home, my daddy want to know where is my car. So as he was walking down the dirt road, he saw some of the neighbors coming from the other side of the dirt road. He waved them down and he simply said, I'm stuck and I need some help. In short, the brother in the car got out, went down and helped him to get the car out of the ditch. You know why he went to help him? Because he needed some outside help. Sometimes you're in a situation when you can't do it by yourself and you need some outside help. You need some additional help. You need some extra help. You need more help. And you need to know that even in your life where you're dealing with situations that you can't handle on your own, that we have somebody that is some outside help. We have somebody that's coming down your road and he already knows where you live. He knows your address. He knows who you are. He knows your name. He knows your situation. But he's just waiting on you to say, I'm stuck and I need some help. He's waiting on you to say that I'm in a ditch and I don't know how to get out. He's waiting on you to cry to him and to call on him and to tell him. He sees you, but he wants you to call his name and say, I need some help. And David used a word in the 121st book, verse 1, where it says, I will live. He goes to verse 2, and secondly, he says, the word mine. See, the word mine, M-Y, is another form of the letter I. All of us were in school, and we remember our English teachers teaching us that even my is a pronoun. However, it is the possessive form of I. See, I is singular, but then my is possessive. Possessive means that it's something that belongs to me. A lot of times we like to say, it's mine, or it's all I have, it's my car, it's my house. Some of us love to use the word mine. But what about my help? David was not only interested in what he could get out of life, he took the time to understand something not only about the singular form, but about the possessive nature. He took the time to know about his own strengths and his own weaknesses. He knew about himself inside and out. He knew what some folk in business and management or leadership call SWOT analysis. How many of you heard of a SWOT analysis? Some of us have heard of it. And if you don't know what a SWOT analysis is, S-W-O-T, it means that it is an exam where we look at our strengths, S, we look at our weaknesses, W, we look at O as in the opportunities that we have, and we look at T, the threats or the things that can come against us in life. And this model of strategy is about when we do a SWOT analysis or a personal analysis, it gives us a clear picture, a status, or a present-day reality about the individual or the business and where they really are in life. However, there are times when we need to evaluate our own selves. You might say that it takes too much to look at what you're doing and how you think. It takes too much to look at how we make decisions in our lives. Some of us may say, why bother? Why concern ourselves with how we think and how we process and how we approach and why we make the decisions that we do in our lives and why we do the things that we do? Why do we make the kind of decisions personally? And why do we make certain decisions for our families? And why do we make certain decisions for our own children and other people that are affected around us? But whether you realize or not, the Word of God encourages us to take a second look at ourselves. Too often we know about other folks' problems and we don't even know about our own. Too often we know about what's wrong with other folk, but we don't know what's wrong with us. Too often we're quick to point out the wrongs of other people, but we haven't spent time to look at our own wrongs. Where Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians 13:5, examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove yourselves. Know ye not your own selves how that Jesus Christ is inside of you, except ye be reprobates? We need to take the time to evaluate our own selves. We need to take the time to meditate and see where you are in the Lord. You need to take the time and see, why do you do the same things that you do over and over again? Why do you say the same things over and over again? Why do you think the way that you think? You don't need to compare yourself to what you see on television. You don't need to compare yourself with what you see online. You don't need to compare yourself to your next door neighbors and to other folk around you. All you need to do is take time to see who you are in accordance with God's word. And when you see who you are in accordance with God's word, it'll be a true picture of who you are. It'll be a true picture of how you think. It'll be a true picture of how you live. Don't worry about other folk. David's conclusion about himself, when he evaluated himself, was that he had to outsource. Sometimes you have to go outside of yourself and get some help in order to get the kind of help that you need. David did not have all the equipment and the bare essentials and the personal ability to handle the results of his own personal evaluation. This is why the scripture said, when he said, my help. The idea in reality that he needed somebody outside of himself. In this day and time, David could have been the CEO of Google, or the CEO of Amazon, or the CEO of Facebook. We got to remember that David was a king. David was filthy rich. David was resourceful. So why would the king need some help outside of himself? He had everything that a man needed. He had everything that any person could want. He had everything that was on the shopping list and under the tree and on the bucket list. It had been checked off. And any dreams as a childhood, they all had been fulfilled. So why is the king saying that he needs some help outside of himself? Yet he's talking about my help. Even Job lost everything. Job was going through many things in his life. Job lost his health, and he lost all of his property, and lost his wife, and lost his family, and lost his friends, and even lost his dignity, and lost his own self-esteem. Job lost everything, and either what he lost, he still raised the question that we found in Job 6 and 13. Is not my help inside of me? And is wisdom driven quite from me? Job was a blessed man, but he realized that there are times when certain things come up in this life that remind us that we are not all that we thought that we were. There are some people that are so blessed that they can't even see it. There are some folk that believe that the earth evolves around them. Our own children are well off and don't even realize it. They walk around with $600 phones, and they even got several kinds of accounts already, bank accounts, and Apple account, and Twitter account, and Instagram account. They believe our own children that they don't even need help from God. There are people that are walking around that believe that they know more than God. There are some of us that believe that we're better than God. There are some of us that believe we're bigger than God. There are some of us that believe that we're stronger than God. There are some of us that believe that we're smarter than God. There are some of us that believe that when things come up that we can handle it all on our own. But there are times when things come up in our lives that social media can't help you. There are times when things come up in our lives and your house can't help you. There are times when things come up in our lives, no matter how much money you got in a bank account, your money can't fix it. Your money can do many things, but it can't buy you peace. Your money can do many things, but it can't buy you joy. Your money can do many things, but it can't buy you happiness. Your money can do many things, but it can't help you when your spirit gets low. You need something greater than money. You need something greater than the internet. When you're about to lose your mind, you need something greater than home remedies. When your health can't come back together, you need something greater than home remedies. You need something greater than a prescription. You need something greater than medicine. You need something greater than the world can give you. You need something greater than an iPhone. You need something greater than a tablet. You need something greater than a computer. You need something greater than your own family. The only one I know is David said, "My help coming from the Lord." The first verse raised the question, whence? Where does my help come from? But the second verse, David answers and responds to his own question. That my help coming, yes it does, from the Lord. It is evident that David had no confusion about trying to take credit from how he had made it in his own life. See, Israel could not get this in their head, that God was the one that delivered them from bondage, and they did not deliver themselves. We too forget so soon that no matter how blessed we are in this life, that we're not our own source, that we're not the origin for our own deliverance. We're not the answer to our own salvation. This is what the lesson was about last Sunday morning during Sunday school in Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 6, where God was reminding the people, where he said, "I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage." It is the Lord our God that brought us over. It is the Lord our God that lifted us up. It is the Lord our God that brought us through and that brought us around, that brought us under, that brought us over. It is the Lord our God that has saved us. Have you forgotten where we come from? Have you forgotten from whence we have come? Have you forgotten about our mothers and our fathers and our grandmamas and our granddaddies and where they came from and how hard it was for them? Have you forgotten where we were before there were suburbs and before there was urban life? Have you forgotten where we were before there were downtown rises? Have you forgotten that our folk came from somewhere else? Have you forgotten about our people that used to live in shotgun houses? They used to live in shacks with 1 and 2 rooms with 10 and 15 people living under one roof, and you got a house with 20 rooms and you can't get along with 2 people? Have you forgot about what many of our foreparents have gone through, our grandparents have gone through, when they only had 1 or 2 pairs of shoes and still made it to church, and you can't make up your mind with 200 pairs of shoes and you can't even get to church? Did you forget where you were before you had a degree, or before you had a good job, or before you had a decent place to live? Did you forget where you were before you were able to buy a Cadillac, or before you were able to buy a Mercedes, or before you were able to get a BMW? Well, did you forget where you were before you could afford your own place to live? Did you forget where you were before you can get the kind of clothes that you would like to wear and shop in the kind of stores that you would like to shop in? Our God has been so good to us. And sometimes we walk and we live in such a manner as though God has not done anything. Some of us come to church sad and head hanging down low as though God has never done nothing for you. When God got you up this morning and started you on your way, He put food on the table and the choir is singing about how good God is, and you sitting acting like God has not done nothing for you in your life. We serve a great God. We serve a mighty God. We serve an awesome God. We serve a magnificent God. And I thank the Lord for how He keeps on blessing us. See, God has to keep reminding us that we're not our own help. Never believe that somehow without God, that you can just do it, that you can just handle it on your own, that you can work through it without God. Never believe and somehow in your life when you're dealing with things that somehow God does not matter. Be careful of the mindset that you never need anybody, and especially that you don't need the Lord our God. The psalmist reminds us in the 146th verse of Psalms, 146th book of Psalms, verse 5, happy is he that hath his God of Jacob, for he is our help, whose hope is in the Lord our God. I can remember when I was 18 years old. And you know what? I almost didn't make it out of school my freshman year. And there are a lot of us that have gone to school, or we get degrees, or we get certifications, and we never witnessed or testify about the times when we almost didn't make it. My first year of school, I almost didn't make it. In fact, I almost got kicked out of school. This is the short version of it. One of my classes, I just didn't have the grades that I needed. And I'll never forget standing outside of the administrative building that day. And I began to talk to God. And I said, Lord, I know I hadn't done all that I needed to do. But if you help me, Lord, I'm calling on you, asking, Lord, if you help me, and if you get me out this time, I'll do everything I can to never go back again. And I'm here to stand and tell you 4 degrees later, and I hang my stuff on the wall, not because I'm boasting and bragging, but I know that if it had not been for the Lord, I wouldn't have what I have. So I don't walk around acting like I'm able to get my own stuff on my own. I'm just so good that God blessed me when I couldn't even bless myself. I'm so glad that God helped me when I couldn't even help myself. Now I know some of us believe that our help comes from our jobs. Some of us believe that our help comes from our intelligence. Some of us believe that our help comes from our degrees and our training. Some of us believe that our help comes from accountments and investments. I know some of us believe that our help comes from medication, it comes from prescription, and it comes from shots. But we need to realize that all of our help coming from the Lord. He's the originator of help. He put help inside of help. He's the architect of help. He's the engineer of help. He's the creator of help. He's the co-writer for help. He's the programmer for And if God can't do it, it won't be done. God, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. We believe you with this. David threw a major hint in the event that those that would read these verses, would read this testament, that if you are unclear about who the Lord is, it is the Lord our God who made the heavens and the earth. There was no construction company. There was no production outfit or no general contractors. Thank you, Jesus. He made it all by himself. One day when I was a little boy and I was walking into the house, and Mama had a record that she was playing. And all I could hear was, he did it all by himself. He hung the sun and the moon and the stars in the sky. He did it all by himself. But the problem is, brothers and sisters, when we refuse to know God and know Jesus Christ and the Holy Ghost and know the power of God's mind, then we don't know the wonder-working power of God. See, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 said that he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. That ought to mess some people up. That have said, the Lord has not ever done anything for me. It ought to mess some people up that say that I prayed to God, but I still have not gotten an answer. Listen, the word said the world was made by him, but the world knew him not. It ought to mess some folk up that say, I look for the Lord, but I don't see God. You're looking for God, but you can't tell where God is or what God is doing or how God is moving in your life. There are some of us that say, and we hear people say that I need some proof that there is a God. I can remember some years ago, Bishop Joseph Coles Jr. at a leadership school. He gathered a group of young children around, and he asked the question, where is God? And the children began jumping around with joy and excitement. And they were raising their hands saying, I know where God is. The children were so excited to hear the question. Bishop raised the question again, where is God? And the children began jumping around even more, raising their hands with excitement. I know where God is. I know where God is. And some of the children said, you can see God in the birds. Some of the children said, I can see God in the trees. Some of the children said, I can see God in the sky. Too many of us are too quick to try to disprove God. Some of us are too quick to try to teach about everything else. Some of us want to learn about everything else. We're too quick to Google about other things. We want to download everything else. We're too quick to hear about our favorite restaurants and the favorite places that we want to go and the favorite vacation spots that we like to visit. But what about God? What about the one who made the heavens and who made the earth? What about God? What about the one that keeps blessing us even though we've not earned it? What about God? The one that keeps blessing us even though we have not deserved it. What about God? The one that keeps looking out for us when we can't look out for ourselves. Not only has God delivered and given us help when we need it, not only has our God been a lifeguard in our lives, he's been a safety net in our lives. He's been 911 in our lives. Not only has God made the heavens and the earth, but he owns everything in the heaven and the earth. And since God owns heaven and the earth, and he owns everything inside of the earth, it also means that God has to take care of what God has made. The psalmist said that the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, and the world, and they that dwell therein. See, God didn't allow himself to make the whole world and then turn it loose. He didn't make the whole world, wind it up, and then let it go. He didn't make the whole world and put a battery inside of it and then turn it loose and walk away. He didn't make the whole world to operate on its own and to exist on its own and to destroy itself on its own. See, if God made it, God has to take care of it. Some of us have allowed the devil to fool you. Some of us have allowed the devil to trick you. You believe that God has left you. You believe that God has rejected you. You believe that God has abandoned you. But you got to realize that if God made it, that God has to take care of it. I know that the devil has you fooled and believe that everything in your life is going to the pot. That everything in your life may be wasting away. That everything in your life may seem meaningless. That everything in your life may seem pointless. But what God made, God has to take care of it. What God made, God has to maintain it. What God made, God has to keep it. What God made, God has to preserve it. What God made, God has to bless it. Because he not only made it, he has to take care of it. If God made it, he has to give it grace. If God made it, he has to show some mercy. If God made it, he has to give it love. If God made it, God has to look down upon it. And when it can't help itself, God has to turn around and help it. I love what the scripture says, that the thief cometh not, but to steal, kill, and destroy. But the word said that I am come, that you might have life, and have life more abundantly. See, God is our help in the time of trouble. God is our help when you can't see your way. God is our help when sin has you locked down. God is our help when problems come your way. God is our help when you're in the ditch and can't get out. God is our help when you can't help yourself. God is our help when you can't longer do. God is our help when the medicine don't work. When your friends are no longer around. When darkness comes into your life. When your steps become shorter. Yes, when your back is against the wall. God is our help. He is a present help in the time of trouble. He's help for the lone. He's help for the weak. He's help for our children. He's help for the battered wife. He's help for the battered husband. He's help when you have no job. He's help when your money is low. He's help when you can't find your way. He's help in the morning. He's help in the noonday. He's help in the evening. He's help when you can't sleep at night. He is our help. He is our help. He is our help. Yes, he is. Don't say you can't make it. He's your help. Don't say you can't get out.